I'm Marie from Humblebee Me, and today I'm sharing a really neat formulation that I've had a lot of fun working on. I'm calling this Clear Jelly Oil Cleanser because it is an oil cleanser and it is in like a jelly form, and you can see that it's clear, like you can see through it. It's really neat. The ingredient that gels this cleanser is polyamide 3, and specifically it is the polyamide 3 from Making Cosmetics. I did work on creating an alternate version of this formulation using the polyamide 3 sold by TKB Trading, and I didn't end up coming up with anything that I was really all that happy with. So if you don't have the polyamide 3 from Making Cosmetics, simply make it without the thickener. I've provided more details on how to do that on the blog post, but this makes a perfectly lovely cleansing oil. It just won't be jelly. The reason this formulation works with the polyamide 3 from Making Cosmetics, but not really the one from TKB Trading, is because they perform differently with different solvents. And so the one from Making Cosmetics does a really good job of thickening C12 to 15 alkyl benzoate, of which you'll find quite a lot in this formulation, whereas the one from TKB Trading is not quite as good at that. And then the opposite is true with castor oil. So if you have looked at my clear lip gloss base formulation, you'll know that there's two different versions, and that the one that uses the TKB Trading polyamide 3 needs far less than the one for Making Cosmetics. As a quick side note, the lip gloss I am wearing right now is the Poppy lip gloss we made in my clear lip gloss base video. So if you want to see how that's made and make your own, make sure you check that out. The bulk of this formulation is C12 to 15 alkyl benzoate with a bit of castor oil and some safflower oil. The thickener, as previously mentioned, is polyamide 3, and the wash-off ingredient is PEG40 hydrogenated castor oil. The making is really simple. We just need to melt everything together. I do recommend using direct heat, so either a stovetop on quite a low temperature or in the oven, because that polyamide 3, trying to melt it in a water bath is an exercise in futility and frustration. The inspiration for this formulation actually came from my research into polyamide 3, which is where I get a lot of my inspiration. As you research an ingredient and learn what it's good at, you know, your brain sort of starts to go, oh, I've had that problem somewhere else, and this ingredient could solve it, and just pew, pew, spark, spark. And I get a lot of ideas that way. So before we dive into the formulation, I want to encourage you to check out two awesome, huge blog posts I've shared over at humblebeeme.com called How to Research Your Ingredients, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 is all about the information that you should be looking for, and Part 2 is about lots of different places to find it. So if you are looking to sharpen your ingredient research skills into a fine point, and you are looking to learn more about your ingredients, I highly recommend checking out those posts. I think that is enough chat. As always, please make sure you are reading the full partner blog post for this formulation linked in the description box below this video. You'll find lots of great information there, including information on substitutions, scaling, shelf life, links to places to buy all the ingredients, and a whole lot more. Come on, let's get started. So this is really simple to make. We're just going to combine everything and melt it together. So in this beaker, I already have 2.5 grams of polyamide 3. This is a polyamide 3 product sold by Making Cosmetics, and it is important that you are using this one. I'm going to add 18.5 grams of safflower oil, 20 grams of C12 to 15 alkyl benzoate. And then in these last two dishes, I've got 7.5 grams of castor oil and 1.5 grams of PEG40 hydrogenated castor oil. So I'm just going to stir them together ahead of time just to try and get as much of that PEG40 hydrogenated castor oil out of the dish as possible. It's a little bit sticky. You don't have to do this. This is me just being a bit fussy. Up next is heating. To melt this through, I am going to use my stovetop. I have a glass top stove, so I can put this beaker right on it. If you don't have a glass top stove, you can use your oven instead. You can pop the, heat tolerant thing that you are melting everything in on a cookie sheet in your oven and set it to around 200, 210 degrees Fahrenheit to melt everything through. But yeah, I'm just gonna go get this nice and warm. What we're watching for is that we don't see any of these little bubbles anymore, because each of those little bubbles is inside a little blob of polyamide 3. So here we are, all melty, no more tiny little bubbles or blobs of polyamide 3. As this was melting, I did go in and make sure to stir it, making sure that we didn't have any stubborn blobs kind of sticking to the bottom and refusing to melt. But with this done, really all that is left is packaging it up. For packaging, I'm going to use this soft squeeze tube from Humblebee. This is one of the 50 ml ones. This was a gift. To fill this tube, we'll need to get the liquid in through this hole. And so it will need to be like this. And in order to hold it like this, I've just kind of set up this whole thing with a 250 milliliter beaker with an upside down 50 milliliter beaker inside of it. And so I can just kind of do that, and that'll hold it upright so that I can pour without having to hold it myself and accidentally pouring on myself, which would not be good. So I'm going to continue to stir this for a minute or two just to give it a chance to cool down. I don't want to compromise the integrity of the packaging, aka melt it, by pouring something that is way too hot into it. Up next, I'm going to go put this in the fridge to speed up cooling. You don't have to do this, but I like to. All right, so here we are, all set up. This is the time, at least for me, where the awesome clearness of this really kind of hits home. Because when something is this clear, you're usually expecting it to still be liquid, right? Because this is just as clear as it was when we pulled it in, or poured it in. Haha! It's not liquid, baby! How cool is that? This still really amuses and delights me. So we will pop a lid on that and then just leave that to come to room temperature. For a bit of a test, I'm having you join me for the nightly removal of my eye makeup. So the situation going on here, we've got one of the cream eyeshadows that I shared a tutorial for recently, a eyeliner that I'm working on, and a waterproof mascara from Wayne Goss, which was, I think, a new release for him, which I'm quite enjoying. Not sponsored or anything, bought it myself, but yeah, nice mascara. It's definitely waterproof, and I get a lot of questions about if a thing will remove waterproof mascara, so I chose that with this in mind. But here we are with our still clear, so cool, cleanser. Dispense a little bit on my finger. I don't think that gel kind of consistency is ever gonna get old for me. And now we go full panda. So I've got kind of a dollop on each finger here, and I'm just gonna close my eyes and gently massage this in, and I will turn into a panda. And then I've got just down here a microfiber cloth and a bowl of warm water to wipe it all away with. So yeah, and I am going quite gently, but I know that when I speed the footage up, it often looks like I'm like really going to town on my eye area. I promise you I'm not. I'm being very gentle. It's just speeding things up like 400% definitely tends to make everything look a little bit more enthusiastic. Like my breathing. I often look like I'm hyperventilating, I find, when I speed up footage. It's like, I'm not. It's just, yeah. Anyways, panda time. So even though it didn't look like I put a lot of product on my fingers, once it really melts into the skin, it's like, oh wow, that actually was quite a lot of product, and it really goes a long way. I'm focusing on my lash area because I know that the eyeliner and the mascara are the things that need the most time, and I don't generally like opening my eyes while I've got cleansing oil all up in there, so I usually tend to really err on the side of too much massaging rather than too little, because I can't see what I'm doing, guys. Oh yeah, that's some proper pandaing. I know from experience that with this level of clean, I'm not gonna wake up with like black bits under my lower lash line. I've definitely had that happen with less than effective cleansers before. But yeah, so that is how my awesome clear jelly cleansing oil works. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and please remember that if you want more information on this formulation, it's all in the partner blog post linked in the description box below this video. So information on substitutions, scaling, shelf life, links to places to buy all the ingredients, and just generally lots of extra helpful information. You should also definitely look at the encyclopedia entry for polyamide 3 because there's some really cool stuff in there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I am going to go to bed now. Bye.